Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep into really a high-stakes, maximum drama situation in Genoa City. We're focusing on this sort of unholy alignment of ruin and opportunity, specifically zeroing in on Audra Charles, who seems to have, well, hit rock bottom.
Definitely seems that way.
And the dramatically recast return of her ex, Noah Newman, who comes back literally fighting for his life.
And what's absolutely fascinating here, I think, is the timing. It's so precise.
Right.
Audra is facing the consequences of, well, everything. Her ambition, her schemes. She's professionally ruined, financially ruined, basically a pariah, clinging to just one very fragile lifeline. And right at that moment, the one person who represents her most complex, maybe her most toxic, but also potentially her deepest emotional history, he crashes back into town.
Crash is the word.
And he's in a medically induced coma tied to an intentional attack. It really is a perfect storm. Could be for a redemption play or maybe just pure opportunism on her part.
Exactly. Our sources are laying out this really devastating portrait of Audra, just as Noah desperately needs protection. So our mission today for this deep dive is to go beyond just the headlines.
Right.
We need to unpack the sheer scale of Audra's downfall, analyze the specifics of Noah's mysterious non-accident accident.
Crucial distinction.
And really dissect this overwhelming speculation that Audra's going to try and exploit his vulnerability, for what she hopes will be her own, highly cinematic redemption arc.
Let's dig in.
So let's start with the scale of Audra's downfall, because it's really comprehensive. The sources describe her as being dangerously close to rock bottom.
It feels accurate.
She's a town pariah with, quote, no job, no man, which for a character who arrived, so self-assured, this high-powered shark, it's a total character collapse.
It really is. And it's more than just like a setback. It's a public, humiliating implosion. If you connect this to the bigger picture, her whole identity was built on power, on money. And both of those foundations have just crumbled at the same time.
Yeah.
Her cosmetics company, Vibrante, that was supposed to be her big power play, remember?
I remember the launch.
Now it's just relegated to a faded dream. All that initial investment money, gone, evaporated. And her professional credibility went right along with it.
And the root cause, the thing that kicked this all off, was that absolutely ridiculous deal she cut with Victor Newman.
Oh, that deal.
She agreed to seduce Kyle Abbott, a man who was, let's be honest, completely uninterested in her, in exchange for this massive payout from Victor.
Which she desperately needed for Vibrante.
Right, but she failed spectacularly. And Victor, being Victor, the ultimate puppet mounter, he didn't just walk away. He demanded a refund.
A refund of the money he'd already paid her. This is just, it's vintage Victor, isn't it? And it really raises that important question, the one the sources lean into heavily. Was Victor ever actually going to pay up the full amount?
Probably not.
Or follow through properly. Even if she had somehow miraculously succeeded with Kyle, I doubt it. This wasn't like a normal business transaction. It was psychological warfare.
And absolutely.
That refund demand, it's not just about the money. It's a public demonstration. It's designed to make sure Audra loses capital, pride, and her reputation all in one go.
He wanted her gone.
She was set up to fail. I think she was intended to be basically burnt out of the market entirely. That loss isn't just financial. It's like confirmation that she completely misread the power dynamics in Genoa City. She played with the wrong Titan.
And beyond the financial and professional ruin, her romantic and social isolation is just stark. She lost Nate Hastings directly because of that humiliating Victor Kyle scheme. And the reports, they get really specific about the emotional cost here. Apparently, she begged Nate to take her back.
Wow, beg. That's low for Audra.
Right, but he adamantly refused. And that refusal, I think it's key because it shows Audra's just used up. She can't even trade on her past connections anymore.
No leverage left.
Which, raises the stakes for her potentially turning back to Noah now. He's a connection from even further back.
And her strategic miscalculations, they didn't just cost her Nate. They created real, powerful enemies. She made an enemy out of Claire Grace Newman.
Yep.
Mostly by trying to manipulate Kyle, who, as we know, is completely obsessed with Claire right now.
Who?
But maybe even more critically, she created an even bigger enemy out of Kyle Abbott.
Which is significant.
Very significant. Because, regardless of how foolish Kyle can sometimes be.
Often is.
He's still an Abbott heir. He's still a key figure now back at Newman Enterprises, oddly enough. In Genoa City, if you lose a Newman heir and an Abbott heir as allies,
You're toast.
you are effectively isolated, completely boxed out.
And if we just, take stock of her romantic inventory right now, it's not just empty. It's almost comically focused on her nemesis, Claire.
Right. It's ironic.
Kyle is totally fixated on Claire. Holden Novak, her previous ex from L.A.
Also fixated on Claire.
Yes. And Tucker McCall, who was, certainly a source of power and chaos for her.
He's long gone. Off chasing Ashley again.
So the dramatic irony here is just painful. Every man Audra has tried to align herself with in the last year has either rejected her outright or is now completely mooning over the quiet, seemingly sweet Claire Grace Newman.
While Audra, the supposed power player, is just adrift.
Totally adrift. Professionally bankrupt, personally bankrupt, and you gotta think the psychological damage is mounting too.
Okay, so given that state of total collapse, we have to look really closely at her single source of stability or potential stability.
Right.
And maybe more importantly, why that stability is so incredibly fragile.
And that single source of hope is Sally Spectra.
Sally Spectra, a character who, let's face it, knows a thing or two about falling from grace herself.
Oh, definitely.
And about seeking redemption. Maybe that's why she gets Audra.
Could be. The sources confirm Sally is pretty much the only person in Genoa City that Audra has in her corner. It's quite a statement.
It really is.
And Sally, despite her own, checkered past...
Which is putting it mildly.
Yeah. She still seems to believe in Audra's talent, enough to promise her a job at this new venture, AbbottCom.
And that's not just a job, right? For Audra, this is basically her only remaining link to any kind of professional legitimacy in town.
Her only way back in.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is the complex corporate maneuvering that even saved this job for her.
Oh, right, because it almost didn't happen.
It was almost dead because Billy Abbott intervened.
Of course, Billy.
Billy inherently distrusts Audra. I mean, can you blame him after the Kyle thing?
Not really, though.
He views her presence as just toxic to this new company. He went straight to Jack Abbott, telling him basically, take back his funding, stop associating the Abbott name with Audra.
And Jack folded.
And Jack, who's always, cautious about family harmony, especially where Billy's involved, he complied. He pulled the funding.
Wow. So that move should have left Audra jobless again. Completely out in the cold.
It should have. But the save, as the sources call it, came from Sally's sheer determination and maybe a bit of her old cunning.
Why'd she do?
She managed to talk Jill Abbott, the head of Chancellor Winters, a woman who definitely appreciates aggressive businesswomen,
Jill gets that,
into funding the company instead. Jill's investment completely bypassed the Abbott family drama, saving Audra's role in the process.
Smart move by Sally. But risky.
Incredibly risky, which is why the vulnerability of this job is just immense. This isn't some secure corporate position Audra's landed.
No.
It's basically a favor granted by one friend, Sally, and it's being reluctantly tolerated at best by powerful external forces like Billy.
Yeah, Billy's not going to let that go.
No way. Spoilers are suggesting Sally really has to go out on a limb for Audra. We can absolutely anticipate that Billy, who sees Audra as this schemer who dragged the Abbott name through the mud with the whole Kyle scandal,
he'll be watching her like a hawk.
Constantly questioning her presence, probably undermining her. Sally's going to be stuck defending Audra's competency against Billy's, let's call them, moral objections.
And maybe facing scrutiny from Jill, too.
Yeah.
If things don't go well.
Absolutely. Jill expects results for her investment. She's not funding this out of the goodness of her heart. She wants returns.
So this connects directly back to you, the listener, and really understanding the stakes for Audra. This job at AbbottCom, it's not just a salary.
Not at all.
It's her absolute last chance at legitimacy in Genoa City. She simply cannot afford to mess things up for Sally.
She really can't.
Because if she loses Sally's trust, if this job goes south, she truly has nothing left to lose.
And that's a dangerous place for Audra Charles to be.
Exactly. When a character with her kind of ambition feels they have nothing left, they become fundamentally dangerous. Desperate. The pressure on her is enormous, which almost forces her to look for stability or maybe leverage somewhere else. #5E. Noah Newman's dramatic return and recasting. And that desperation, that need for leverage, brings us right to the catalyst for Audra's potential new path. Or maybe her new scheme,
Mm-hmm.
the unexpected and very dramatically staged return of Noah Newman.
Who's been gone for years, really, off the main canvas.
Right, and now he's back under the absolute most intense circumstances imaginable, fighting for his life.
But before we dive into the high drama of his return, we really have to address that key technical detail. For anyone catching up, or maybe for the learner,
New recast, yes.
the sources detail that the previous Noah, played by Rory Gibson, he's off the canvas now. He's actually moved over to General Hospital.
Hey, Michael Corinthos over there.
Exactly. And the new actor stepping into Noah's shoes here on YNR is Lucas Adams.
And the sources describe him as, quote, cute and hunky. They also note he looks very different from Rory Gibson.
Which is interesting in itself. This isn't just like an administrative swap. It's a significant visual change for a key legacy character.
Yeah, it feels deliberate.
It often signals perhaps a narrative shift, a change in direction for the character.
What do you mean?
Well, that visual change is something we're thinking about. Recasts often signal that the writers want to take the character somewhere new. Rory Gibson, he presented a softer, more sensitive, kind of artsy Noah, right?
Yeah, the nightclub owner, happy in Paris with Allie.
Exactly. Lucas Adams, with the described look, maybe signals a return to a more traditional soap-leading man type. Perhaps someone who's a bit tougher, maybe more grounded in the business world.
Or capable of darker storylines.
Or definitely capable of darker storylines, which is certainly what the current plot suggests is happening. It signals the show is ready to use Noah not just as, Allie's sweet boyfriend, but as a central player in some really high-stakes drama.
And Adams, he brings significant soap credentials to the role. He played Trip Dalton.
Also known as Trip Johnson, right? Son of Steve Patch Johnson.
That's the one. On Days of Our Lives.
And here's a fun little interconnection, keeping the soap world spinning.
Oh.
Tamara Braun, who played Trip's mother, Ava Vitale, on Days, she is now playing Sienna on Young and the Restless.
Get out, Sienna! The Sienna connected to Noah's current crisis.
The very same. That crossover connection is pretty interesting, isn't it? Especially since Sienna seems to be directly tied into whatever trouble Noah's gotten himself into in L.A.
Wow. Okay, so looking at Noah's recent history leading up to this dramatic return, he had that nightclub here in Genoa City, the Glam Club.
Right, which seemed successful for a while.
Then he disappeared after a trip to Paris with Allie Nguyen. And crucially, the sources indicate Allie, played by Kelsey Wang, stayed behind in Paris.
And there are no signs of her returning anytime soon.
Which strongly suggests Noah's coming back single.
And isolated. Conveniently clearing the path, you might say, perhaps intentionally by the writers, for Audra to potentially insert herself back into his life. No girlfriend complication.
And his last known activity.
Mm-hmm.
It was this ambitious and, as it turns out, potentially very risky venture.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Los Angeles to open another nightclub.
Another one. Okay.
And this detail about his L.A. venture, it seems absolutely crucial now, because it's the specific backdrop for the severe crisis he's facing. It connects him immediately to this unfolding mystery storyline involving Sienna, Holden, and these other shadowy characters.
And that brings us right to the shared history between Audra and Noah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just some casual fling that ended, amicably.
No, definitely not.
Their history is deep, it's dramatic, and it's absolutely fraught with pain, which makes their current reunion potential, explosive. And highly fraught for both of them, I'd imagine.
Okay, let's unpack the specifics of that toxicity, because Noah himself used that word.
He did.
They were together, living in London, apparently quite serious, years ago now.
Oh, this was pre-Genoa City for both of them, really.
But Noah, reflecting on it later, he described the relationship flat out as toxic. Why? Because they apparently fought all the time.
And the implication wasn't just like passionate arguments, it sounded like real emotional volatility, something that ultimately drove them apart.
And the defining moment, the way it ended, was just sudden, brutal, and completely unilateral on his part.
Yeah, the exit. After one particular fight, Noah just packed up his stuff and left London and, quote, never came back.
Just gone.
Gone. And Audra, apparently used to the dramatic cycle of their arguments, the breakups and the makeup, she thought they would just kiss and make up like they usually did.
So she was completely blindsided.
Totally blindsided. And that feeling like sudden, maybe unjustified abandonment, you have to think that shaped Audra's subsequent behavior. Well, it probably reinforced her manipulative tendencies. Maybe she learned that showing vulnerability doesn't actually secure a man. Control might seem safer. She wasn't going to be left like that again.
Here's where it gets really messy and maybe illustrative of Audra's pattern of confusing emotional manipulation with genuine vulnerability.
Ah, the pregnancy story.
The alleged pregnancy and miscarriage. The story goes, when Noah walked out, Audra was allegedly pregnant with his baby.
Right. Allegedly. That word is always key with Audra.
True. And she supposedly miscarried before she ever got the chance to tell him about the pregnancy.
Which, if true, is incredibly tragic in itself. Losing a baby, being abandoned. It's horrific.
Absolutely. But the revelation timeline, that's where it becomes both a tragedy and potentially a weapon.
Exactly. The timing is everything. She only revealed this intensely personal, incredibly traumatic information, the miscarriage, at least a year later, maybe longer.
A year? Why wait so long?
Well, she waited until after she just happened to show up in Genoa City, ran into Noah again, and saw that he'd moved on.
Moved on with Allie Nguyen.
Moved on with Allie and was actually happy, seemingly stable.
So she dropped this emotional bomb on him when he was finally happy with someone else.
Precisely. The sources really highlight that she held on to this profound trauma until it was basically too late to be effective as, like, an authentic emotional bridge between them.
It just made things more awkward and painful.
Right. It arguably solidified the fact that she often misses her emotional window. She uses profound pain not necessarily as a means for connection, but maybe consciously or unconsciously for leverage, or maybe just bad timing. But it casts doubt.
So this history means when she approaches him now in this vulnerable state, the audience, and probably his family, are immediately asking, is this genuine concern, or is this just another strategic play?
Is that deep connection reemerging, or is it calculation? That's the core question.
And crucially, how did Noah react when she finally told him about the miscarriage, like a year later?
Well, the reports indicate that Noah, who was, happy and secure with Allie at that point, was completely blindsided. But he seemingly accepted her account of what happened.
He believed her.
It seems so. But that revelation, told so late, undoubtedly amplified the stressful and dramatic nature of their past in his mind, and certainly in his family's mind. It confirmed for Sharon and Nick that Audra basically equals chaos in Noah's life.
Okay, so now we shift entirely to the present crisis, which is what's driving this whole plot forward and, frankly, creating this unique, if morally dubious, opportunity for Audra.
Right, the timing again.
Noah's back. But he's not walking into the athletic club. He's in a hospital bed. He is fighting for his life.
Yeah, the reports are grim, suffering from brain swelling.
And placed in a medically induced coma. Just terrible.
And the crisis itself is shocking, not just because of the severity, but because of that crucial twist you mentioned earlier.
It wasn't an accident.
This was not an accident. The sources are very clear on this. Somebody deliberately ran him off the road on purpose.
Which immediately elevates this whole thing, doesn't it? It goes from a personal tragedy, bad luck,
to a criminal investigation. Or it should. It ties directly into this new, darker LA storyline that's unfolding. This wasn't random chance. This was a premeditated act of violence against a Numenaire.
And his parents, Sharon and Nick Newman, they were understandably just worried sick.
Of course. They're right there at his bedside.
And Nick particularly provides a really critical clue. Something that frames the urgency of the danger Noah was in before the crash.
What did he say?
Nick noted that Noah had been acting very nervous lately, like something was off, something was wrong.
Ah, okay. So Noah knew. He felt threatened.
It certainly seems that way. It confirms Noah likely knew he was being tracked or threatened before someone ran him off the road, which links the violence directly back to whatever decisions he made in L.A.
And that danger almost certainly stems from his new venture, right? That L.A. nightclub.
Seems likely.
It ties back perfectly to that whole L.A. scene. The sources are speculating Noah got involved in some kind of shady business with some sketchy people, probably related to funding or running that club.
And given the immediate severe violence, we're likely talking about serious, maybe organized criminal elements here, not just, a disgruntled investor or something minor.
No, running someone off the road suggests a much higher level of threat.
So how is the truth going to come out? The narrative mechanism for revealing this mystery seems to be that connection we talked about earlier.
Sienna, played by Tamara Braun.
Exactly. The sources suggest the family, Nick, Sharon, maybe Victor will learn more soon, probably from Sienna.
So she's the key. The witness, or perhaps even a participant, who holds the information about this L.A. underworld Noah stumbled into.
Seems that way, which ensures the peril doesn't just end because he's physically back in Genoa City. The threat is still out there.
Right, and while he's fighting for his life, maybe still unconscious, the speculation is that Sharon and Nick will bring Noah home. Back to the ranch, maybe. Or Sharon's place.
Somewhere familiar, yeah. to recuperate, even while he may still be in a coma.
And that move, bringing a compromised, highly vulnerable Numenera back home, is what really facilitates Audra's immediate, almost unavoidable opportunity.
To insert herself into his life.
Exactly. Far from the prying eyes, maybe, of whoever attacked him in Los Angeles, but right under Audra's nose. So this is where it all converges, isn't it? Audra's absolute financial and professional desperation connects perfectly, almost too perfectly, with Noah's extreme medical crisis.
Yeah.
And this forms the core of all that redemption arc speculation we're hearing about. You've got a woman with seemingly nothing left to lose.
And a wealthy, unconscious Numenera who desperately needs care and maybe protection.
It's a soap opera setup 101, but a compelling one.
And Audra, how did she even find out? Not through a concerned call from family, right?
Right, no. Pure chance. Or maybe fate, depending on how you look at it. She overheard Victoria Newman and Nate Hastings discussing the accident.
Just happened to be in the right place at the right time? Or the wrong place?
And she didn't just, listen silently and feel bad. Oh, no. She immediately made her presence and her connection to Noah known.
What did she do?
She apparently reminded Victoria and Nate that she used to be in a serious relationship with Noah, and then immediately started asking questions about how he's doing.
So not passive concern, more like staking a claim.
It feels like it. Planting a flag of past ownership, maybe right in the middle of a medical emergency. It wasn't subtle.
Okay, so if we look at her motivation here, the calculation seems pretty cold and clear, doesn't it?
From the outside, absolutely. She has, quote, nobody and nothing going on right now romantically.
We established that. Her list of unavailable exes is long and, frankly, humiliating. Kyle, Holden, Tucker, all unavailable, mostly thanks to Claire.
Right. And Noah is suddenly single. Allie's conveniently far away in Paris. He's highly vulnerable physically and maybe emotionally when he wakes up. And let's not forget, he's wealthy, a Newman. So the thinking is, she may try to latch onto Noah again as soon as she can. Because he's weak, he's in physical pain, and his current romantic connections are conveniently absent. It's an opening.
And the prediction for the sources is bold. It's specific. They speculate she won't wait politely for an invitation from Sharon or Nick.
No, they think she'll throw herself into Noah's path, maybe literally rush to his bedside.
Presenting herself as, what? The only one who truly understands his past. The prodigal ex returning in his hour of need.
Something like that. She might view this crisis not just as a tragedy for Noah, but as a chance for a blast from her past that could somehow restore her standing. Both in the community and maybe, just maybe, back into the good graces, or at least the orbit of the Newman family.
Which brings us to that central, crucial question for you, the listener, the one the writers are clearly posing here.
Is this purely self-serving opportunism? Or does she actually genuinely care somewhere deep down?
Can calculated self-interest ever accidentally lead to genuine personal growth or real feelings?
It's the big question. The sources suggest her immediate reaction, how she responds to how badly Noah's been hurt, how she deals with the trouble he's clearly in. That will reveal if she has any residual feelings left.
Because despite all the toxicity, their shared history is profound, isn't it?
It is. They lived together, they loved each other, they went through that sudden abandonment and the alleged loss of a child. That kind of depth, that shared trauma, it's difficult to shake entirely, even for a character as seemingly manipulative as Audra.
So if those feelings are still there, somewhere underneath the ambition, maybe this vulnerability on Noah's part, his complete helplessness, maybe that's the catalyst.
It could be. It might actually force her to act with genuine care because there's nothing for her to control in his current state. He's unconscious. She can only be there, offer support.
That's an interesting angle. Less about manipulation, more about presence. Hashtag tag 8. Connections to the larger mystery and family conflict.
And this isn't just a story about two people with a really dramatic past potentially reconnecting. Audra's desperate situation could actually twist into a genuine path towards legitimacy for her.
How so? Not just through romance.
Not just through romance, but maybe through protection. Because of her specific, unique knowledge of the dangerous circle Noah seems to be involved with.
Ah, right. That LA connection. That's the critical pivot point, isn't it? It elevates the stakes beyond just will they or won't they get back together.
Exactly. Audra was, as the sources remind us, at one time part of that same LA scene. She knows the atmosphere. She knows the vibe.
And critically, she might know some of the actual players involved in whatever Noah got mixed up in.
Right. This included Holden, her ex. It includes Sienna, who's now in Genoa City. It possibly includes that shady detective character, fake or real Burrow.
And don't forget the ominous presence of Roger Howarth's yet-to-be-met mystery character, who's also tied to that LA group.
Precisely. This knowledge, this inside track, it means Audra might actually possess information about who ran Noah off the road, or why.
Okay, so that shared connection to the shady LA business, that's her potential bargaining chip. That's the hook for her redemption arc.
It could be. Audra might decide, perhaps even genuinely, that she wants to try and fix things for Noah, to protect him, because she actually knows some of these bad people. She understands the threat level in a way his family doesn't yet.
So protecting a vulnerable Newman heir from actual organized danger, that's a much stronger path to redemption than, say, seducing Kyle Abbott for money.
Infinitely stronger.
Yeah.
And more compelling. It gives her a purpose that's actually higher than just herself. It's about saving someone else.
Okay, but the immediate enormous obstacle, and we have to discuss this, is the Newman parental unit.
Mom and Dad Newman, Sharon and Nick.
They are worried sick, operating purely on protective instinct right now. And because of Audra and Noah's past history, which they correctly remember as being incredibly stressful and dramatic,
They're not going to want her anywhere near him.
the sources really doubt they'll want Audra anywhere near him, especially while he's so compromised and unconscious. You can bet Nick and Sharon will be a formidable united front against her presence.
Absolutely. They see her as trouble incarnate for Noah.
And this is where that dynamic comes in. You mentioned Audra's history of self-serving actions. But maybe the question isn't just whether Audra's trying to use Noah.
No one.
It's whether her desire to use him, combined with her unique knowledge, accidentally makes her the only person qualified to actually save him.
Like she might be trying to gain power or access through helping him, but in doing so, she provides genuine, necessary aid.
Exactly. If she knows the identities or the motives of the people who intentionally tried to kill their son, the Newman family might eventually have to swallow their deep distaste for her and rely on her information.
That would be a fascinating turn of events, forcing Nick and Sharon to work with Audra.
But based on Audra's character, her drive, her ambition, the sources believe that if she sets her sights on being near Noah, on helping him,
the disapproval of his parents isn't going to stop her.
it will not stop her or even slow her down one bit.
Yeah.
In fact, knowing Audra, their opposition might just fuel her determination.
Right. She might want to prove them wrong, prove she belongs there, if only to spite them for shutting her out.
Which leads us to that final, really tantalizing speculation from the sources.
The idea that maybe Noah's return isn't just about the danger, but it's meant for a reunion with Audra.
Exactly. That maybe this is actually a mutual opportunity.
Yeah.
Where they can somehow help each other turn their lives around.
How would that work?
Well, Audra could provide that insider protection, maybe help navigate the threat from LA, giving her a form of legitimacy. And Noah, maybe by needing her, could provide her with a non-monetary reason to be a better person, a stable anchor in a town that's currently rejecting her.
So their past toxicity, the very thing that makes them volatile, might actually be the thing that binds them together against these dangerous external threats.
It's a theory, a very soapy, dramatic theory. #tag IS Guy.
Okay, so if we just summarize this incredibly high-stakes situation we've been diving into, Audra Charles is truly at rock bottom, financially, professionally, socially isolated. She's clinging desperately to that single, very fragile professional lifeline offered by Sally Spectra. Meanwhile, Noah Newman makes this dramatic return to Genoa City, but he's fighting for his life in a coma. He's the victim of an intentional violent attack clearly tied to some shady LA business venture he got caught up in.
And their history. It's not simple. It's toxic, undeniably deep, centered around that sudden abandonment in London, that alleged miscarriage revealed way too late. It makes any potential reunion incredibly fraught with risk.
Absolutely.
So the immediate future seems to hinge entirely on Audra's real intentions, and maybe whether she can overcome that formidable wall of opposition she's going to face from Nick and Sharon. Will she rush to his bedside, purely as an opportunistic play?
Yeah.
Trying to secure a wealthy, single, and extremely vulnerable ex? Or will her unique knowledge, her connection to those dangerous people he tangled with in LA, actually lead her down a genuine path of protection? And maybe even redemption.
That's the question the show is setting up.
Yeah, the next few weeks, maybe months of the storyline are really going to show us. We'll see whether her motives are purely calculated self-interest or if maybe those residual feelings the sources mention are powerful enough to force her hand toward doing genuine good, even if it starts from a selfish place.
It's going to be fascinating to watch unfold.
But the real question, the final provocative thought maybe you should be asking yourself as you watch this play out. Given Audra's absolute desperation and Noah's current extreme vulnerability to this shadowy LA group, is it possible that the question isn't just whether Audra will pursue him for her own benefit, but whether her unique, albeit compromised, connection to these sketchy people, her knowledge of that underworld, might actually make her the only person who possesses the insight required to truly protect him from further harm? Could the town pariah be the only one who can actually save the Newman heir?
Now that would be a twist, forcing the powerful Newman family to rely on Audra Charles for their son's safety.
We'll have to wait and see.